Welcome to Unselfishly Me, a podcast all about self-love, self-care, and everything in between. I'm Jane, a personal trainer with a focus on self-love. Each week, we'll be chatting to someone about their self-love journey, how long it took, and what it took to get there. Today on the podcast, I have the original Vanilla Blonde Bailey. You will know her as Bailey Schneider. She has recently done a rebrand to her Greek married surname. I'm not even going to attempt it. She says it in the podcast, so you can just hear it there. She has been on radio for so many years, so you'll probably know her voice from that or from voiceovers on TV and radio. She's got that beautiful blog, Vanilla Blonde Bailey. And she is a mom of 2. So you would have seen her on Instagram. She is just a ray of sunshine, like pure sunshine. She is just, I think she's a beautiful role model for women and men out there, especially kids. And I just love following her adventures, and I've just loved her blog for years. So it is such an honor for me to have her on the podcast, and I can't wait for you to get to know Bailey. So welcome to Bailey. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Oh my goodness. Thank you so much for having me. This is such an incredible honor. I am Bailey Georgiades, previously known as Bailey Schneider. And I did a bit of a name change when I moved from Cape Town to Greece. I know, completely crazy. I still can't believe it. It's surreal that we're even here. And I just realized that Bailey Schneider had been a name, my maiden name, and it had been a name that I had used for so long as a radio presenter in the country. But now that I was moving to Greece, I wanted a bit of a fresh start. I wanted a surname that was going to help me in Greece, and that's my husband's surname. And so I decided that's it. I'm going to rebrand as Bailey Georgiades, start a podcast because I'm really missing being on air in South Africa. And I am a mom. I have got 2 gorgeous little boys, if I say so myself, part monster, part angel. George is going to be 4 next month, and I don't know where the time went. And Alexi, his full name is Alexandros. Alexi is 18 months exactly.
Oh, no, but they are very cute, like very, very cute. So thanks. What does self-love mean to you?
Oh, self-love. I mean, it is such an incredible journey to be on. And I think it's something that one never stops doing. And as we age and as we have the privilege of getting older, we become wiser. And with that self-love, it's trying to start self-love that is probably the hardest part. And so self-love for me is not always looking in the mirror and being like, hey, cutie. Self-love is an acceptance of being where you are, where you're at, and being really kind with yourself.
Oh, yeah, beautiful. Perfectly said. And then what little self-love practices do you do each day? So obviously now with moving, it's harder, and you're probably not in like a super routine where you have a lot of time for yourself and, moving in with the kids. So even if you are talking about what you did in Cape Town before, and then how you're stealing little pockets of time for yourself now.
Goodness. I mean, self-love practices, they really vary. They vary through the stages of my life and the time in my life. So I must admit, I used to be better with self-love. And what I mean by that is that I was more selfish with my time before I became a mom. And, you always hear self-care, self-love, it's so important when you're a mom. But it's so hard to carve that time out and to find those pockets. And now with our move, I mean, even more so, and I'm feeling it. I'm really feeling the effects. I'm feeling a little bit more negative than I usually am, which is a big thing for me because, I mean, my nickname with my friends is Little Miss Sunshine. I'm always able to find the positive, find the rainbows, and it's been quite tricky to do that this time. So the self-love practices that I am doing currently, and it might sound really strange, but it's more to do with my body. Moving to Greece, I've noticed the women here are completely different in their mindsets and the way that they carry themselves. And it has been quite an incredible thing to witness. The women here do not look like Victoria's Secret models. The goal is not to have the perfect body. It's literally that meme, do you have a body are you going to the beach? Therefore, you have a beach body. You know, that sort of funny joke. And that's how they are. They are so sexy in the way that they are so confident. And some of them are really big girls. And I say that with respect and with love. And what I mean by that is that, you know, big girls back home in Cape Town, they don't always feel as confident to go on a Clifton Fourth beach, for example. You know what I mean? You'll find the beautiful
Yeah.
bodies there. The women here are in the tiniest bikinis that are like Brazilian thongs almost, with their dimples loud and proud, and they are loving life. They are running around, they are having a good time. And not once have I looked at them judging, going, oh my goodness, she's so big, she shouldn't be in a costume like that. I'm in awe, going, wow, look at her rocking that costume and throwing her head back and laughing. And she's not sitting under an umbrella covered up, too scared to go to the water's edge because now she'll actually have to stand up and bear it all for everybody. She is living her life. And I've been so amazed with that. So, long story short, the small thing that I've started doing is when I'm in the shower, every time I wash a body part, in my head, I inject it with love. So I don't necessarily say it out loud because I think my family would think I'm crazy. But in my head, I, especially my tummy area, because that is my least favorite part, I am massaging my tummy and going, I love you so much. Thank you so much for carrying my babies so safely. Thank you for stretching in the way that you needed to. And that's really for the stretch marks that I'm having a hard time accepting. Thank you for protecting me. Thank you for nourishing me. And thank you for loving me. But I am safe, and anything excess does not need to protect me anymore. And that's what I do with my little soap and my sponge. And I say that over and over in my head as I wash my stomach. And then I go onto my legs. Thank you for being strong enough to carry me. Thank you for, and I inject gratitude into my body parts. And call me crazy, but I don't know, maybe it's the way that I am looking at my body in a new way, that I'm suddenly not seeing the things that used to really drive me crazy, or if they are disappearing because I'm injecting love into it. But that is a big thing that I'm doing now. And it seems so small and so crazy, but it makes me feel 100% better. Back home in Cape Town, I found myself getting into nature whenever I really needed to feel better about myself, whether it was a prom walk or getting onto the beach and really grounding myself with the beach sand, or even going out. I mean, people used to go on and on about hating the wind in Cape Town, but I actually really enjoyed it because for me, it was washing away, or not washing away. For me, it was blowing things away. Quite literally, I would stand in the wind like a crazy person on my balcony, and I would just wait for that gust of wind to go over me. And it would always make me feel a lot better. So I suppose it's a mindset on how you look at weather.
Yeah, it was cleansing you.
It's cleansing. It really does feel cleansing, whether it's wind, water, the sunshine. Nature has a beautiful way of really healing.
Yeah. And going on to when you were saying in the shower, so some things that I always cover in workshops is your mind only believes what you say. So you're not crazy. It is probably releasing what no longer serves you, and giving yourself those compliments and confidence. It really does actually make a difference. So you probably find that, yes, you are feeling different because you are believing the compliments that you're giving yourself. So you're carrying yourself differently, but also whatever's not serving you is probably being released because your mind only believes what you say. So if you are saying those things to yourself, it's believing you. But if I said those things to you, you'd be like, thanks. Oh, no, I don't look like that, or whatever. And your mind forgets it after 20 minutes. So you are actually literally changing your cells.
Thank you. Well, I'm so glad that I've started doing this. I don't even know how I started doing this. It's not like I listened to a podcast or I watched something. It became this sort of intuitive way of going, gosh, I am so hard on myself. I wouldn't say, in fact, not even half the things. I wouldn't say a single thing to someone in this world the way that I speak to myself.
Yeah.
I don't know why I am so mean, and I am that epitome of a mean girl. Like, I can't believe how awful I could be to myself. And I just sat going, but I don't think like this about anybody else. And so why is it okay to think that way about myself? And you're right. When people say, oh, Bailey, you're looking really beautiful today, I'm immediate to go, oh no, but I mean, I put on a little bit of weight, or like dismissive. So that's the other thing I'm trying to do, is accept the confidence with no buts. Thank
Yeah.
you very much. I really appreciate that. And let it wash over me rather than rebut it straight away and dismiss it. That's why self-love is such a journey. It's not like I nailed it, got
Yeah.
it, okay, move on to the next day. It's literally a work in progress all the time. And the other thing that I wanted to say, especially for people who are really struggling with self-love, because it is easy to do self-love when you are in a good space.
Mm.
It's easy to be grateful for things when you've got lots to be grateful for. It's hard to do it when you are in a negative space, a negative spiral. It's hard to do it when you're not feeling good about yourself. So, how do you actually bring yourself up to get into that self love gratitude zone? And the thing that has worked for me the most is to quite literally have a little booklet or a piece of paper, or whatever it is that makes you feel better, or whatever you want to do. Maybe it's some notes on your phone, and that is what makes me happy. And jot it down. Little things like, I really love being in nature. Right. So I'll put it down there. I really love going to the beach. I really love putting on my favorite song, Walking on Sunshine, Katrina and the Waves, and just whether I dance or not, it's just hearing that song makes me feel good.
Mm.
I really love putting on lipstick. So little things like
Yeah.
that. And you write them down, because when you are in that negative zone, you can open up that book and go, right, let's get into a happy zone. What makes me happy? And it's amazing how so few people know what actually makes them happy.
Mm. That's true. It's
We're
scary.
supposed to figure it all out, and we're supposed to know these things, but have you? And I remember, sorry, am I waffling, by the
No,
way?
go, Bailey, go. We love it.
Okay, you've opened up a whole can here.
So funny.
You know, something that I learned very, very early on in my life, in my early 20s, I mean, coming straight out of like 19, going into 2021, I was in a relationship and I got completely sucked into him and his world. And I changed who I was. I changed myself. And it's such a stupid example, but it's something that really resonated with me in the sense that I've never forgotten it. So much so that I changed myself down to, I really liked a certain pointy ankle boot, and he didn't like points on shoes. And so I was like, well, there we go. I won't buy any more ankle. I mean, was he wearing the ankle boots? No, he was not. I was. But I changed myself, and it's such a stupid example with the shoes, but I changed myself so much. And when we broke up, I actually did not know who I was. I did not know what I even liked, because I liked what he liked. I wore what he wanted me to wear. And I couldn't believe that I had got myself to the point to be so completely manipulated and young and stupid in love. And it was that moment that I went, right, Bailey, what do you like? What makes you happy? Who are you? And that's when I started my little booklet of writing everything down. And the first thing was, I like pointy shoes. It was
Add to
so
cart.
I mean, it's just such a silly example, but it was so, crucial to realizing that I had kind of lost my way and kind of lost what I liked. And not everybody is going to like what you like, but if you know what you like, you can draw inspiration from that when you are having tough days.
Yeah, for sure. It's such great advice. So, what does your self love journey look like? I mean, from the shoes onwards.
My self love journey has been up and down. I go through moments when I feel really in love with myself, in a good way, in a
Mm.
confident way, in a healthy way. And days when I am incredibly, incredibly hard on myself and berate myself, and I have a big issue with my self worth, and it's it's something that I am constantly working on, whether it's consciously or subconsciously. Like now, right now, it's consciously working on my body with my little self affirmations when I'm in the shower, to realizing that I want my sons to be confident men. I want them to be gentlemen. I want them to treat women with so much love and respect. I want them to know boundaries. And so, with that also comes a certain amount of self love for them. And it's been such a journey becoming a mom and realizing, it's not just loving myself now, it's loving myself with them and for them too, as well as for myself. And so my journey started right back, as a little girl. you know, I think in high school I was bullied a little bit, and that, really knocked my self confidence. I'm a bit of a people pleaser. So, when that happened, I was like, oh my gosh, why am I not making everybody happy all the time? And I went, no, because you can't make everybody happy. You can be what's that beautiful quote? The juiciest, ripest, sweetest peach, and not everybody's going to love peaches.
Mm.
So just stop trying to make everyone happy and make yourself happy. And so it stemmed from quite little all the way up to constantly giving myself inner pep talks.
No, you've definitely nailed the inner pep talk vibe. I think that so many people don't do that, and they just are the biggest critics of themselves. We all are, like, we are our biggest critic. And especially if you grow up with a mother, like our friend is like this, if you grow up with a mother that is super critical of you, then you're going to become super critical of yourself. We all are critical of ourselves, but also it depends on the story that you fed when you're growing up as well. Half the time, the story that we tell ourselves is not actually our story. It comes from teachers and parents and siblings and other people. It's not actually us telling ourselves that story, but we just take it on.
Yeah, I can resonate with that.
So, what was the hardest thing about choosing to immigrate?
Oh, Jane.
Mountain.
I mean, I still cannot believe that I'm sitting here in Greece talking to you, and it's not on a holiday. Do you know what I mean? Like that this is my
Yes.
home now. The hardest thing choosing to immigrate was actually making the final decision. We'd been talking about it for a couple of years longer. And it was just always that sort of conversation that got parked, that we knew it would happen one day. We wanted it to happen one day. We wanted it to be an adventure, to experience Europe. We wanted to be able to travel a little bit more freely. Ha 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 with COVID. Uh, but that was our idea. But we never really got around to it. And it was when I was pregnant with Alexi that my husband said, we can't keep talking about this. We need to make decisions. And I was like, you're right. Let me give birth first, one step at a time, and then we can make the decision. And, it was a very hard, easy decision. And what I mean by that is it was easy to make it when we were really practical about it. My husband and I sat down one night with a bottle of wine. We opened up an A4 piece of paper and we wrote our pros and cons list. Our pros and cons of staying in South Africa and our pros and cons of leaving South Africa. And it was just so fascinating when we saw it in black and white. It was evident, it was easy as to what the decision needed to be. It was making the decision and going, all right, we're all in, we're doing this. That was the hard part.
Mm. And then actually following through.
That's exactly it. Following through. So many times that we said to people that, this is what we're doing. And people were like, what? You're crazy. You're mad, all those sorts of things. And so you've got to really be confident in your conviction and being like, no, this is our journey. This is what we want to do. This is what we're going to try for 2 years and then see where we want to be. But if we don't try, we won't know. And I don't want to sit at 80 years old regretting and sitting going, what if? I wonder what would have happened if. It's those
You can always move back. Like, that's what I always say to people when I'm like, you can always move back. And exactly what you've said about the 2 years, I think I would be the same. It's just say it's a 2-year adventure and see what happens after that. That way your mind, it's not like an infinite thing where you can't come home and you feel like you would be like coming back with your tail between your legs, because that's what people always say. But it's actually just an adventure. And if you come back, you come back. If you're thriving there, amazing. People need to just be happy for the other people,
Well, the one thing that I have found really interesting was, and South Africa, it is very emotional. It is a very hot topic. I mean, I was nervous to say the word immigrate. I was so nervous to say that because there's a bit of a negative connotation around it in South Africa. And when we went to a friend's 50th, and he lives in Singapore, he's from South Africa. He had people flying in from all over the world. And when we spoke to them about our idea of moving, it was the first positive reaction that we'd had, people going, amazing, do it, that's incredible. And it made me realize that anywhere else in the world, if we were living in Barcelona right now and we said, you know what, we're going to move to Amsterdam, people would be like, cool, what an adventure. You're opening up your world, you're broadening your horizons, how amazing. But you say that in South Africa and people are like, oh, you are not being patriotic to the country, you're abandoning ship,
Running away.
you're running away. And why does it have to be like that? Why can't it be amazing? You're going to broaden your horizons, you're going to see a little bit more of the world. It doesn't have to be this negative thing, but unfortunately it is. And so I was very nervous to use the word immigrate. It just felt like this massive negative word. And so we kind of steered very clear of that. And we just were like, we're moving, we're going on an adventure. Kind of soften a little bit. But realistically, I don't think that we should have to do that. It should be a case of everyone has their journey. Not everything is for everyone. And I really hope that one day we will come back to South Africa. Who knows? I want my boys to know the country that they were born in. Just because we've left doesn't mean that I'm not proudly South African.
I think that's important for everyone to remember. Like, it doesn't mean you're not changing nationalities.
No. We're just wanting to experience something different. And we're very, very fortunate that we are able to with the passports that we have. We are aware of that. We're aware that not everybody can. And so with that gratitude, we were like, well, let's do it. Let's do it while the boys are still little. So that if after the 2 years we're not loving it or it's not where we're meant to be, they're still little enough that we can move on from here. Or stay here and thrive. I mean, I'm being positive.
Yeah, I think you'll thrive. I feel like you're already thriving. You just haven't seen it yet. But I mean, you're doing so well. Just watching on social media, like I was like, I can't imagine doing it with 2 little kids, and especially in this time with quarantine and things. I mean,
You know what? That's the thing. I'm kind of mad at social media, and then I'm kind of mad at myself.
yeah.
And let me explain that. Social media, as we know, I'm a big advocate for it, is, guys, it's just a highlights reel. But then the reality is we are responsible for those highlights reel. The thing is, do you really want to see me mopping the floor and ironing and cleaning toilets?
Yes,
Not
baby.
really.
I want to watch a time lapse of you cleaning the toilet.
You know what? Just for you, I'm
Thank
going to
you.
do it.
Okay.
And I'm going to tag you.
Please do.
Be like, you're welcome.
No, but I know what you mean. And obviously there's hard days and you've probably sat and cried one night or, but
Oh
who
my
wants to
gosh.
see you
So
sitting crying in the corner?
well, this is exactly it. And I mean, maybe someone would want to see that, but it's in those dark moments that I'm not going, oh, let me get my camera out.
Yes, exactly.
It's when you're happy that you're like, oh, let me get my camera out so that I can document this really fun memory.
Yeah.
And so it does. I realize it does look like we are just on one permanent vacation. Greece is just a show off. It is a show off with how beautiful it is. It's not hard to take pretty photos of a cobbled street and bougainvillea and blue shutters and a little taverna, red and white checked tablecloth with some fresh bread and olive oil. It's not hard to take really pretty photos, but they really are those little snapshots, because what you didn't see was my child having a meltdown underneath the table with the tablecloth and the bread and the olive oil being, thrown everywhere. And
Well, now we know.
now you know. But it is a highlights reel. But sometimes I feel like, people don't realize that this is really hard. And there's 5 of us living under one roof. We are not getting breaks from each other, let alone, from, how do I explain it? We're not getting breaks from each other. We're not being able to go off and do our own things. Sometimes it's really funny that I don't know the language and, the alphabet is completely different. And some days it makes me sit in a supermarket with a lump in my throat because I'm so frustrated that I can't read the difference between ham and turkey and tongue. I don't want to buy tongue. And I need to know what cold meats I'm buying. You know what I mean?
I mean, that's important.
It's important. And so it's funny now when I talk about it, but in those moments, it makes me feel completely incompetent.
Mm.
And I know that I'm not. I know that it's just a language barrier and I will learn the difference, but it's just sometimes it's a lot. And I don't know how to share that sometimes on social media because afterwards it's a funny story like this.
Mm.
But in the moment, I'm not going, let me take my camera out and show you that I'm, choking down tears right now.
Yeah.
So it is something to be aware of that. Yeah, there are days that I am like, what have we done? And then there are days when I think, gosh, why didn't we do this sooner?
Yeah. So what would be the easiest thing about the choice to move?
The future of my boys.
Mm.
It's as hard and as simple as that.
Yeah, I'm thinking the same. We also thinking in the future sometime, what it'll be like 10 years time. But also same for paper. I mean, I don't know that there is a future here for her. And she's lucky she has a British passport. So we also, but yeah,
Amazing.
that's
Amazing.
the only thing.
Look, I'm hoping that will change. I'm hoping that will change one day. But right now, that was why we made our decision to do it now while they are little enough. Especially because we were moving to a country that is not English speaking, although people's English is much better than my Greek. Um, yeah, it's as easy and as hard as that. Every single time I have those hard days, I remember our why. I go back to that little piece of paper that's looking quite worse for wears at the moment, and we have a look at our list of our pros and cons, and I just remember why we made the decision in the first place.
Yeah, I think it's important for people to know that as well. It wasn't just a vanity move. It was literally one. And also, once you become a mom, you sacrifice, you'll do anything for them. So even moving across the country so they can have a better life,
That's it.
that's so important. So on that, what's the most difficult thing about being in the public eye? This was a question that was sent in.
Oh, I think it's people thinking that they know everything about you
Mm.
and just then making assumptions, or not that I've had many negative assumptions, but people just assume, for example, that I am just always happy. And I'm not. I'm human. I'm not always happy. I just don't always, go onto Facebook and rant about it. I do like to keep things quite real, though. But I think the hardest part would be, what it was for me? It was when I became a mum, and it was now trying to navigate really wanting to still work because I love what I do. My career brings me so much joy, and honestly, it was my first baby. And I'm an all or nothing person. So I was panicking. How was I going to be all in my career and all as a mother? Because I want to do both. And I just kept thinking, well, I'm not the first or the last mum who's going to go through this. So there are plenty of mums who are in the public eye who have managed and are more than competent and capable. But it was trying to find the balance and then having people watch you. So, I mean, when I was doing the breast pumping in my studio, which is literally wall to ceiling or floor to ceiling, it's literally floor to ceiling glass in the studio. Well, I can't exactly take a break and go to a boardroom and pump breast milk. And I had a lot of incredibly positive feedback, but then just equally I had really negative feedback of like, it's disgusting that you've gone back to work, it's disgusting that you've left your babies behind. And I just thought, is this what working moms have to encounter? This is absolutely awful. I don't know if I'm explaining this right, Jane. I don't know.
I think, and you know what, on that, no, you are, but on that, would those people say that to people's faces that are the cashier that is serving them at Woolworths and things like that? Or are they just keyboard warriors and because it's on social media, they feel the need to say these things? That's what bothers me.
Well, I think you're spot on there. And I think because I'm in the public eye and because people then assume that they know me, or because they listen to me on radio and they create this relationship, which I'm very grateful for. I mean, it's a good thing. That's what radio is about. It's to be that companion with you. But you don't know everything about me. And so therefore it doesn't give you a right to then have an opinion on my life and what I choose to do. And
Mm.
I just sit thinking, gosh, I'm like, I don't even know, like a spot when it comes to the public eye. Can you imagine what your proper celebrities are
Mm.
going through? Can you imagine what people must think and say about, the singers and actresses in the world? And I just think, whew, that is so much pressure on top of your day-to-day life, because that's what it is. People forget that they're human.
Yeah. And this friend that actually sent it in, we were chatting about it afterwards because she said, oh, just the thought of it, the thought of being in the public eye gives her anxiety. And I said, imagine having like 200,000, 500,000, a million followers and all, and you're in America or somewhere where people just, the things that they comment on their pictures and stuff. I actually look at these comments and I'm like, is it the country they've been brought up with? Is it the parents? Because I personally haven't seen such horrific things said like here. Obviously, I'm not looking for it, but I also just think it would never cross my mind to say these things to anyone, even on Instagram as a comment. I was just like, it's insane. So imagine having that. So we think looking at you thinking that, and then you looking at the
Yeah.
the bigger accounts thinking the same.
Well, you know what I think it is? I think it's not about where someone comes from or anything like that. I think it's their wounds. I think it's
Mm.
how they've been wounded, how they've been hurt. I remember years ago when I was on 94.7 up in Johannesburg, it was suddenly the new website came out. Before we were just voices, no one knew what we looked like. And all of a sudden there were profiles on us and there were pictures. And I got such terrible hate mail from women who were going on and
Wow.
on. And so we were taught the best response is no response. And
Mm.
that's cool. So you don't respond, but it doesn't mean that it is erased from your memory. It doesn't mean that you never read it. What happens is you don't respond, but you sit with it. You sit with those
Yeah.
horrible thoughts. You sit thinking, now you must remember, I'm going back to childhood of I need to be a people pleaser. And now I'm knowing that people literally hate me because of what I look like. And I couldn't take it. The one day I was so mad. I mean, when I say I couldn't take it, I took a lot and a lot and a lot. But everybody has got that line. And it was
Mm.
just that one day that my line got crossed. And my line is a lot further than most people. So to cross it, you must know. And I got this awful email from a woman who just went on and on and on about how, I was this bimbo, and it was just so uncalled for and so unnecessary and just really hurtful. And I lost it. And I just replied back and I said, you know what? I'm sending you a hug. I said, I cannot believe that someone could write these mean things, think about it, and still have the decision to press send. You are someone who needs a hug. And that's what I sent back. And well, I got this. I mean, when I saw ping with the new email coming in, I was like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, I don't want to open this. But when I did open it, it was this heartfelt message. Basically, this woman came pouring out that she had found out that her husband had been having an affair with a blonde woman. And in the passing in the car months ago, he had mentioned that, oh, this Bailey girl has such a beautiful voice. And so somehow, in all of that, I then became the person to take out her grief of finding out about her husband. My email address was suddenly public on the website. And that was it. It was her channel to get things out. So I think when people are really mean, they're just wounded.
Yeah. And it's all that hurt people hurt people.
But the funny thing is, it hurts the person that you are hurting back. So it's just a vicious, horrible cycle.
Yeah, exactly. Just be kind.
Yeah, it's true.
So, speaking of that beautiful voice, tell us about your new podcast, The Bailey Boost. I
Oh
love
my gosh, I'm so excited about it, and I was really nervous about it. And it's so funny because it comes now back to that self-love and self-belief. I think people thought, oh, well, because you're in radio, you'll just do a podcast. It's a natural progression, obviously. But I felt really, really nervous about it because it's totally different. It is completely you putting yourself out there. Whereas on a radio station, for example, most of the time people are listening to the station because they like the music. They like that it's, easily accessible. You get in your car and it's playing. But to suddenly have it be me, it was like, well, people are going to have to make an effort to actually listen. They're going to have to want to. And suddenly I had all this self-doubt and all these, things of, oh my gosh, am I good enough? Am I worth doing this? And so that was the first part of being completely vulnerable and honest here with how I was feeling about it. And then the second part was, well, everyone and their dog has a podcast now. And is it not completely oversaturated? And then I thought, well, no, stop it. Everybody has a voice and there is a space for everybody and everybody has a story. And so stop your nonsense. See, here's the pep talk coming again. You love what you do. It's the same reason you started your blog all those years ago. You never did it to suddenly get a crazy following. You did it because you really love being creative. And even if it's just your husband or your mom that's reading it or listening to it, just do it. And so after the pep talk, I was like, that's it. Now, what am I going to do? I'm really, really missing my radio show. I loved it. I presented it. I produced it. All the content, was from me being a complete nerd and researching. And so I just thought, well, I'm going to then take that and turn that into the Bailey Boost. I was thinking of doing the Bailey Daily or the Daily Bailey, but I was like, that is so much pressure. I do
I
not
was
have
going to say.
to do it every single day, even though I kind of love the ring of the name. And so I was like, I want the content that I bring to be something that really elevates people. So I play it on the alliteration of Bailey and the boost that just boosts your life, that just boosts your life with tips and information that will be really helpful in all aspects of lifestyle.
I love it. And it's like nice and it's concise and, it's your personality, but also giving those tips. And it's not like some podcasts, and they each have their own place lengthwise, but like somewhere it's like an hour and a half. I'm like, oh, it's going to take me about 3 days, like 3 sittings to get through this because being a mom and working. So I just love that you put it in such a unique way that it's so you, but at the same time, it's like a little pow, like it's a little boost. I love it. But yeah, it's so interesting that you were so nervous. That I also would have thought that it would have just been like something you were super excited to do and you wouldn't have even thought about it. So thank you for being open about that. I think it also will resonate with other people that are too scared to start something.
I think so many times we have this assumption that, oh, well, this person is so put together. I promise you, most of the time, everybody, in fact, I can almost guarantee that everybody suffers from some form of imposter syndrome. The difference between people actually going ahead and doing it or not is going right back to that self-belief, self-worth, self-love, and those pep talks.
For sure. So speaking about your radio career, so you obviously were doing that for so many years. What are you most excited about for the future work-wise in Greece? So I know besides the podcast, like I think you had mentioned that, having your surname be Greek and then also going and trying to do, because you do voiceovers as well. So now you can also tap into that market as well overseas. Hey?
That's it. So I'm in the process of looking for a voiceover agency here in Greece. And I'm thinking of maybe finding one in London because now with COVID times, people have realized actually people don't need to be in a studio. You don't need to find studio time. Everything can be done online. And so I've got my voiceover agents in South Africa, which I'm continuing with. But now I want to broaden myself here in Europe. And so that's one avenue. The other avenue is I am looking for English speaking radio stations, but I really need to get more of a lay of the land of Greece. I think that you need to have an understanding of how people tick, what they're interested in, how they think before you can just get on and start doing a radio show. I think that I have to respect the country and respect, people that do this job to really give it my all and to really bring that authentic voice. I kind of need to have one that understands Greece, even if it is in English. So that is one of the goals that I will start looking at from next year. But I also want to be open-minded. So part of the really being scared to make this big move was that we didn't have jobs lined up. we didn't have something that we were being transferred into, or whatever the case is. And while that was incredibly scary, it was also incredibly exciting, because it means we can literally be open to any opportunity that comes our way. And so at the moment, it's just networking, it's meeting people and seeing where we go. I thought I was going to have, I mean, this is quite funny. I thought I was going to have this advantage, this competitive advantage moving to Greece and being blonde. Well, let me tell you, every single TV presenter is blonde.
No ways.
I was not expecting it. In fact, it's like try and find the dark-haired TV presenters.
Wow.
So that was really funny. I definitely want to do something that is in entertainment and media, but I don't know what. And honestly, it terrifies me that I don't have things figured out, because I am a bit of a planner. But I think maybe that's also part of my journey, is to let it go and see what unfolds.
Okay, I'm laughing here.
And even as I said that, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm going to vomit.
Well, here we go. So I do angel card readings, and like proper in-depth ones. But now I just decided to choose a card for you. I used a pendulum, so it's really, really, literally, it wasn't just me, picking with my hand. I used the pendulum and I like whittled down the deck, and it's the super attractive deck from Gabby Bernstein. And this is your card, which I'll send you a photo of. When I'm patient, I let the universe do for me what I cannot do for myself.
Oh my gosh, Jen, I wish you could actually see goosebumps.
Goosebumps.
I'm like tingling all over. I am struggling right now to be patient. I am finding it so hard to be patient with myself, to be patient with my boys. So that was the whole thing. I feel like I'm a better mom because I work. And I don't have that right now. And I feel like I'm not as patient as I should be. I went to work, ironically, for my break. And I would miss them so much. And I would come home and I would have had my cup filled. And so I was in this like happy vibration. And then, coming home and having missed them and yay, and then completely focused on them. And now it's just 24/7. Mommy, I want water. Mommy, please, can I have some watermelon? Mommy, come play with me. Mommy, we're going to be ninjas. Mommy, we're going to be dinosaurs. Mommy, let's go and build. And I'm just like, I love you so much, but oh my gosh, I need 5 minutes, even going to the bathroom. I mean, I used to laugh when moms would say, good luck, you'll never shower or pee alone. And I was like, oh, please, you guys are so dramatic. And I literally never shower or pee alone, ever. And so,
no, I resonate so much with that.
So that patience is something I am struggling with. That is so good. Okay, read that to me again. Sorry, this is really personally for me.
So, when I'm patient, I let the universe do for me what I cannot do for myself. There's your affirmation and confirmation that maybe for now you just need to be with those boys, because it's such a transition for them that maybe the universe is like, stay with them so that they feel secure. And I don't know if you know about the chakras, but root chakra, the base chakra, is all about feeling safe, secure. I belong, I'm home. And for you to be their home right now and to be at home with them would be giving them safety and security, and through this major change. And even though they're so little, subconsciously it does affect them. So just trust that the universe is giving this to you as a gift to be able to stay at home with them, to create that base and that safe and secure environment. So that's what they're looking to you for. So don't be hard on yourself for not being patient with them and with yourself, because it is obviously very difficult, and it's something that's new to you as well, and you don't get a break. But just know that I think, and this is coming through me, so obviously it's a message for you, that the universe is doing this for you and not to you.
I literally want to cry right now. That is so, you have no idea how much I needed to hear that. Like, I'm actually quite emotional.
Oh, I've got goosebumps. So that's my tingle factor is always like, this is a yes. So I feel like I'll send you some stuff on root chakra and things like that. And yeah, it's also
really, really appreciate that. That is
also his age. It's also, the root chakra is from birth to 18 months. So you're creating such a solid base for him as well in this time. So, it is the right thing for you. And I know how hard it is, like being stuck at home with him. Well, I only have one, but yeah,
And
I know,
guilty for saying that. I feel so guilty for
I
saying that.
know.
I love being a mom. I love it so much. But I also don't want to lose elements of who I am. And so we constantly hear in motherhood, balance, 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 self-care, self-care, self-care. Balance has become such an F word for me.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, it's so difficult to do. And so, yeah, I think that we just need to be kind to ourselves and realize, like, no one has it balanced. No one
Yeah.
has, am I allowed to swear?
Yes.
No one has their shit together.
Exactly. And also balance, let's just remember that balance is not like the scales are super even. Like balance comes in different forms. So it could be 30%, 70%, it's always
Yeah.
changing. So we
Yeah.
just need to change our perspective of balance as well.
Oh, Jane, this has been so amazing. I absolutely love it.
Yeah, I'm going to send you some stuff so that it'll make you feel better and know that this is just your journey right now, and you're going to find the time. And even if, like, I know obviously from watching your highlight reel, I know that you go and you walk down and you go to the grocery store, but maybe even some days going by yourself, and I hate that I say this I even voice note my friends when I'm out and about. I'm like, I'm running an errand and this is a break for me. How sad is my life? Ha ha ha. But it's amazing because I get like 20 minutes to myself.
Totally.
But maybe taking that time, I don't know if you can get takeaways and stuff there, but maybe you go and you get a takeaway coffee and you go sit somewhere and then you go do groceries or whatever it is by yourself. So you're getting just, that time.
You are talking dirty to me right now. That sounds so glorious.
Yeah. Maybe that's the key. Like even once a week, that's your like treat that you get to go and do that, by yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the thing. It's the small things. It doesn't need to be going to a spa, although that would be incredible. It's finding those pockets. And that's what I mean by going back to your list. What makes you happy? Because that was the thing. Suddenly you'll have 5 minutes that you do get those 5 minutes. And then it's a panic of, oh my gosh, I've got 5 minutes. What am I going to do? What am I going to do? And then by the time you've decided, 5 minutes are over and you're like, damn it, I wasted it. Whereas I can be like, I actually really love making a cup of tea, going and sitting out on the balcony and maybe getting in 4 pages of my book. But knowing that, I'm like, right, I can go and do that. Whereas so many people don't know what actually makes them happy, as silly as it sounds. And so then they don't know what to do with those 5-10 minutes that they've actually been given.
Yeah, it's so important. So there's your homework, is that you have to do something by yourself this week. So do you have any final thoughts that you'd like to share with everyone?
My final thoughts are really just, I don't want to say be kind to yourself, because really that is a work in progress. I think if there's one thing to take away, it's to always remind yourself that you are enough.
So important. And even writing it somewhere or on your mirror or as a screensaver, it makes such a difference to you. So bearing in mind that you are no longer Bailey Schneider, where can people find you on social media?
So I am Bailey Georgiades _ on Instagram. And on Facebook, I'm still Bailey.Schneider, although it's Bailey Georgiades. I changed the name there. And then you can find me on the Bailey Boost. It's my podcast that is available on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. And my blog, vanillablonde.co.za.
Gosh, that brings back memories. Like you really have been the vanilla blonde for so long.
Oh my goodness, for over 10 years now. It's so crazy to think.
Yeah, I love it. But I'm excited to read more of your adventures. And I think just keep doing what you're doing. Everyone loves you. Everyone always, well, not everyone, some Karens out there, but we don't talk about them. But everyone loves what you're doing, and just, keep being your positive self, but also show us the negative. We need to also see it. I think it's important, for those people, the naysayers, to also see, we also have bad days. Maybe we'll start a trend on like, we have to put like a If Me Friday or something as a hashtag, and we show pictures of our children crying and jumping on us and cleaning the toilets.
Absolutely. I mean, I think I really go into depth of like the light and dark of things on my blog. That is where I get to really express myself. I love writing, and so I really share a lot of what's going on my blog. And
Mm.
then social media is your pretty pictures, because I love taking photographs, and so it's that highlights reel. But for the nitty gritty stuff, it's definitely on the blog.
I'll link all of those so everyone can go and have a look as well. But thank you so much. It was so nice to chat. Gosh, it feels like I was sitting on the balcony having tea with you.
I love it, Jane. This is honestly it's been such a boost for me. So thank you
Yeah.
so much.
I gave the
Thank
Bailey boost a boost. Oh my
you.
God.
Did.
Love it.
You did. You did. Thank you. No, honestly, this has been so wonderful. It has been like chatting to an old friend. And I really appreciate you giving me this time.
You're welcome. And thank you for giving us this time. But I'm going to send you some other stuff so that you can, yeah, take it into your day and just boost you even more.
I love it. Thank you, Jane. Thank you so, so much.
Thanks, Bailey. Thanks for listening to Unselfishly Me. Follow us on Instagram at unselfishlyme and check out our website www.unselfishlyme.com.